What's up everyone, it's Brian from Exact IT and Cybersecurity. Welcome to another video where we help you understand what's going on out there with cybersecurity, all the risks that are presented to you and your business, and what you can start doing to protect yourself. In today's video, I'm going to get into the top stories of the week. And there's a lot to talk about, but before I get into it, remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell if you want to be notified when I put out content like this. And also check out the links in the description. There's tons of resources to help you with anything that you might need around cyber attacks, ransomware, cybersecurity protection. If you need help, consulting, coaching around cybersecurity, my team and I are here to help you. So check out the links down below, and I appreciate your support as we head to 6,000 subscribers. So this week we had a significant number of cyber attacks, and I typically only talk about one cyber attack at a time on the channel, and I'm deciding to change that up a little bit because while I still will cover a lot of the bigger cyber attacks, I want to highlight the fact that there's companies being cyber attacked every single week. And I'm going to cover ones that are in the news that you guys can reference through links in the description down below. But I'm also might talk about sometimes some ones that we just see on the dark web that aren't in the news. So that'll be a little bit of a twist and interesting thing that we add here as we put this together for you guys. So if you like this content, please let me know in the comments below. I'm trying to figure out what you guys like, what you want to hear. Definitely never ever going to be an instructional video type of cybersecurity channel. There's plenty of those guys out there doing that stuff, and I just don't want to do those things, although I could. I just don't want to. So let's talk about it. Microchip Technology, production affected by ransomware attack. This chip maker, Microchip Technology, said it was hit with a ransomware attack that will impact some of its production facilities. This is a US-based chip maker, and they fessed up earlier this week by not issuing a press release, but by following that mandatory form with the SEC as the company is publicly traded. And this has been one of the more positive things that have come out of regulation, is that these companies can no longer hide the fact that they were hit with these attacks. So in this required filing, the company admitted that earlier this month, a ransomware attack crippled its manufacturing operations, and it would likely impact its output going forward. So here we go with another manufacturing organization hit with a ransomware attack where they had to stop production, and cyber criminals love to do this stuff. They know if they can take the floor down at a production facility, the chances of them getting paid for a ransomware extortion increases dramatically. So it seems like this company, this Arizona-based Microchip organization, serves a number of sectors, but largely provides chips for embedded systems and controllers for industrial manufacturing systems. They were hit on August 17, 2024, which they detected potentially suspicious activity involving its information technology systems. And then upon detecting the issues, the company began taking steps to assess, contain, and remediate the potentially unauthorized activity. 2 days later, on the 19th, the company determined that an unauthorized party disrupted the company's use of certain servers and some business operations. So for 2 days, they were chasing this guy around. They were probably seeing bad logins, things like that. Normal stuff that you see when you see cyber criminals trying to move laterally across a network. And unfortunately, they weren't able to get to the bottom of it before they were able to wreak havoc and damage on the organization. And those are the types of things that we see in organizations that have production facilities and things like that. We see the fact that these organizations try to sometimes get the bad actor out of the network before damage is done. But if you don't have proper protections in place and you can't respond accordingly, this is what happens. Cyber criminals are able to take down your business, and that's what's happening. Another group that got hit with ransomware this week, folks, is Canon Design. They confirmed that they were hit by this Avos Locker ransomware group, one of the more prolific ransomware groups out there. Canon Design is a multi-awarded architectural engineering and consulting firm based in the United States, recognized for its work on high-profile projects such as academic buildings, hospitals, and sports arenas. Canon Design is sending notices of a data breach to more than 13,000 of its current and former employees. You may not think that you have data that cyber criminals want, but if you have employees, you have data that cyber criminals want. That hackers breached and stole data from its network in an attack in early 2023. This is another thing that you really don't want cyber criminals getting their hands on. There's a market for this kind of stuff on the dark web. There's people out there in the world who want to do harm to facilities and areas in this country that would love to have their hands on things like drawings for buildings in major cities. The notification letter came that Canon Design started sending impacted individuals informs of a security incident that occurred between January 19th to January 25th, 2023, which involved unauthorized network access and data exfiltration. Although the firm discovered the intrusion on January 25th, 2023, the investigation into the incident was only completed on May 3rd, 2024, and it took them another 3 months. So it's interesting that it took them that over a year to figure out what happened, and then it took them another 3 months to tell everybody that this happened. It's not a good situation. Avos Locker hit them with a data breach, and it took them a really long time to figure it out. And this isn't uncommon when we meet with companies who are dealing with a cyber attack, that they just don't have the things in place that can give cyber defenders a leg up when they come in and try to help you out in a situation, meaning get the bad guys out and also tell you what happened so you don't have the problem again through the same attack vector. And this is a big deal for a lot of companies to understand that just one tool like CrowdStrike is not going to get you there. You have to have a lot of different things in place. And it's not just technology sometimes. Sometimes you just need those things like simple policies and procedures that companies are missing today to help them defend themselves against these cyber criminals. And if you don't understand what I'm saying right now, if you're like, Brian, what do you mean that you need to have policies and procedures in place? Policies and procedures are the way that your employees know how to behave when you put technology in their hands, especially company-owned technology. We see companies lacking this stuff far and wide, large and small. A lot of small businesses don't even think about this stuff. A lot of large and mid-sized businesses, some of them have it, some of them don't. Some of them realize they need it, but they're not getting to it because other initiatives are more important. These are all the excuses we see as to why businesses don't have proper cybersecurity protections in place. And policies and procedures happen to be one of the things I consider to be part of a robust cybersecurity program in any business, so your employees understand what they should be doing and shouldn't be doing with the technology that you give them to do their jobs on a daily basis. Another step beyond that is security and awareness training. I'm not talking about the same thing. You should have policies and procedures and security and awareness training. They help your employees understand this stuff from two different standpoints, what your company needs and what the threat are out there that they need to be aware of. We also have Flint, Michigan, latest city to suffer a ransomware attack. Seems like Michigan's getting hit a lot lately. There's a lot of hospitals, a lot of cities up in Michigan getting hit, and I don't think Flint's one of those cities that can really afford a cyber attack, but Flint, Michigan officials said the city's recovering from a ransomware attack that has disrupted service and its payment systems. The city of Flint suffered a ransomware attack last Wednesday that disrupted its network and telecommunication. The cyber attack is still disrupting several services, including the city's payment system. The city's BS&A system software used by local governments to manage municipal services offline, and they haven't determined whether personal data was compromised. Officials from the city of Flint said they're working hard to resolve the issue and minimize the disruption for Flint, but the early impact that's being reported is the city's only able to receive payments by cash and check, and it's unable to receive online or credit card payments for water, sewer, and tax bills. And the city has said residents will not accrue late fees or penalties, and that the city will not turn off anyone's water for late payment while the cyber attack is being addressed. So, hey, look, if you're not paying your water bill, you're going to get free water for a bit. According to the city's statement, some municipal employees can access their email inboxes, but the phone system is experiencing gaps in service. Voicemail works sporadically, and messages may have been lost. Oh, that sounds great. According to the city's statement, the city's technology department is working with cyber experts, the FBI, and state attorney general's office to investigate. We'll keep you updated on what's happening with Flint, Michigan, but another U.S. city attacked by cyber criminals. And then just to follow up on a story that I did on the channel earlier this month was the Patelco Credit Union. They've come out and they've released more information saying that personal information of customers and employees were exposed in the June data breach. 2 months after the ransomware attack halted Patelco Credit Union banking services, the company on Tuesday acknowledged for the first time that customers and employees' personal information was exposed in the the security breach. No doubt. I mentioned that when the attack happened. I said that this information is going to get out there, and Patelco credit union customers have a bigger problem to deal with than just their bank being down and them being unable to bank for weeks. Now they have to worry about their personal information that the bank had on them, which is a lot for banks. I mean, they usually have a lot of information on people, is now out there floating around, probably going to be attempted to be sold on the dark web. And if it doesn't sell, it's just going to be shared out there with everybody to do what they want with. And that's going to mean more targeted phishing attacks, more personal identity theft for these people out in California. So if you're a Patelco member and you're watching this, just remember to stay vigilant, because this stuff is going to be coming your way for quite a long time as cyber criminals pour through this data and continue to try to find victims for this attack and make more money. And then we have the city of Columbus. And man, this mayor in Columbus is sure enough getting a major education in incident response and how to handle these responses. Because, just a few weeks ago, this mayor was there basically saying, haha, the cyber criminals, all the data that they stole was encrypted. And I was like, dude, that doesn't mean anything. They can unencrypt that at any point in time, and then that data is out there. Now, here we go, that the Columbus officials warn, and this isn't the data that was encrypted, this was data that was actually decrypted that these guys have their hands on. And these officials in Columbus, Ohio are warning victims and witnesses after the ransomware group leaks the Prosecutor files. City leaders in Columbus warn victims and witnesses of crimes to stay alert about potential threats after a ransomware gang published information stolen from the local prosecutor's office and released it on the dark web. We've seen this before with other cities who've had their law enforcement areas of their city hacked by cyber criminals, and we've seen extortion attempts against criminals, against law enforcement officers. Really, really bad, ugly things happen when cyber criminals decide to take this information and start picking up the phone and calling the people who are in these data sets. We know of victims who were on law enforcement side, who are on the criminal side, and this gets really ugly because you're going to have information in these files where things like law enforcement informants are disclosed to criminals. People could get murdered over this. It's wild, and that's the kind of stuff that we see when this kind of stuff hits the dark web. So we'll keep you posted on what happens here with all this Columbus data that hit the dark web that the mayor thinks really isn't a big deal, but it really is a big deal. Let's talk about this Halliburton. Top U.S. oil field firm Halliburton hit by a cyber attack, sources say. U.S. oil field services firm Halliburton on Wednesday was hit by a cyber attack, according to a person familiar with the matter. Halliburton said it was aware of an issue affecting certain systems at the company, and it was working to determine the cause and impact of the problem. The company was also working with leading external experts to fix the issue. The attack appeared to impact business operations at the company in the North Houston campus, as well as some global connectivity network, and the company asked some staff not to connect to those internal networks. Halliburton is one of the largest oil field service firms in the world, providing drilling services and equipment to major energy producers around the globe. It has 48,000 employees, and it operates in more than 70 countries as of the end of last year. It is believed that this cyber attack has impacted portions of Halliburton's cloud infrastructure. Although no official statement has been released yet, it is believed that that's what has impacted it, and no word yet on whether ransomware is involved. But we will find out. Halliburton's a publicly traded company, so they will need to file with the SEC to let us know if this will materially impact their financial situation as a result. And then we have stories running around out there this week about ransomware, and some of it sounds pretty good, some of it not so good. None of it's good. They're just spinning it so it sounds good. The media, that is. Some of these outlets out here are reporting that ransomware is on the decline. Ransomware is not on the decline. I don't care what anyone says. We're just not hearing about it as much. It's not in the news as much. If you want proof, go on the dark web, do your own research, go find these dark web leak sites and see all the companies that are out there. The reality of it is ransomware is on track for the highest grossing year ever. Almost double what they made in 2023. So how are you saying that ransomware is on the decline? Yes, we may think that less companies are hit, but the average ransomware payment is right around $1.5 million per event, meaning getting ransomware payment. These guys are asking for more money. Last year it was $200,000. So when you get hit hard, and the asking price is high. The only difference is that companies are choosing not to engage with these guys at a higher frequency than before. And because of that, cyber criminals are asking for more money, and we're not hearing about these events as much because somehow, some way, companies are managing to wiggle their way out of them without paying the ransom. And some companies just choose to move on without paying the ransom. It's crazy what's going on out there, but the reality of it is nobody should look at the data that's been released this week by certain reports that are out there, especially reports from chain analysis that say ransomware could be on the decline because we're just not seeing as many companies hit. No, the ransomware payments are up. The median ransomware payment is up, and the number of companies that get hit is still the same. It's like the unemployment numbers. They're fake. We don't know what they really are because nobody really reports stuff the right way. Until we have like a standardized reporting system for cyber attacks and ransomware, it's all a big guess. But I go on the dark web. I look at these dark web leak sites. I see what these cyber criminals are doing on almost a daily basis. My team updates me and briefs me on what these groups are doing on a daily basis. Cyber attacks and ransomware are not on the decline in 2024. They are on a sharp rise, and it's like a hockey stick. And you can check out this chain analysis report. I'll link to the article I'm reading right now in the description below. And last one, health sector alert for this week. HHS. They're saying this group Everest ransomware is coming for you. And the reason they're saying this is because they're seeing hospitals being attacked by this group at a very, very rapid pace here in the middle of August 2024. Here's what Health and Human Services says about Everest. This ransomware as a group service is increasingly targeting the healthcare field. The group is known to access system through compromised user accounts and common remote access tools, right? So they're getting in through your VPNs, they're getting in through some remote access tool that it's common in your industry. So think about what that could be. VPN, remote access, how you're getting into computers from your house. Those are the things that these guys are targeting. On top of that, they're using compromised credentials. They can get those a lot of different ways. They can find them on the dark web. They can buy them on the dark web. They can send you a fake phishing email and you click on it and you give them your credentials. They can also do things like steal tokens, and they don't even need your username and password. There's a whole bunch of ways that these guys can get into your account these days, and that's what the HHS is warning about. And you need to be vigilant and understand you need to have password managers, 2FA in place, and make sure your remote access tools use some kind of zero trust so you're not letting the bad guys in even if they get these things. It's believed that Everest used to be a ransomware group, and now it appears they've morphed into what is known as an initial access broker. This means their role in the underground economy, so to speak, of ransomware is to facilitate ransomware attacks by gaining access to network. Once they gain access, then they run to the dark web and they sell that access to a ransomware group. It's important to note a couple earmarkers about Everest, and you might want to get this to your IT administrators if you're not one, and if you are, pay attention. Once the ransomware group is hired, Everest, and like other gangs, they use cybersecurity tools that are well known in the industry. They use tools such as Cobalt Strike to facilitate their attacks. So it's recommended by me that if you're in healthcare and you run a network in healthcare, that you have a set of network monitoring tools that look for these types of tools. So if something like Cobalt Strike is deployed on your network and activated, then you have a tool that alerts you and you can take action against that, because this is an earmarker of this group. So be proactive. Do something about this. Make sure you're aware that this group is targeting healthcare organizations, and put the things in place that HHS recommends, because they're seeing this group attack massively, and they're doing it a lot, and they're being very successful with it. So get ahead of it. Look for this tool on your network. Make sure you're not doing the things like leaving your remote access tool hanging out there for anyone to log into, and make sure your users keep their usernames and passwords secure, and you implement multi-factor authentication on those logins, so in case somebody does get those compromised credentials and uses them to log into your network, you have another mechanism to stop them with MFA. If you have any questions about any of this stuff that I threw out today, there's plenty of links in the description. I appreciate you hanging with me and listening to me update you on all the important stuff that happened around ransomware and cyber attacks this week. I'm Brian with Exact Cybersecurity and IT. I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe, everyone.